Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hope you guys are well. So, I'm sure you guys are aware, and I'm sure you guys have seen, in the past week, the Oleksandr Usyk hate train has picked up momentum and is now full steam ahead. Oleksandr Usyk now appears to be the new devil child for a certain section of boxing fans. And once again, we use the term boxing fans very lightly. You know, you can fill in the gap there, call them what you want. But Oleksandr Usyk, for me, the whole way he's been treated in the last week kind of signals a new low for this so-called YouTube boxing community and certain participants of it. The toxic rhetoric that has been directed towards Oleksandr Usyk in recent days has been nothing short of disgusting as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm not sitting here and telling you that you need to be a fan of Oleksandr Usyk. If he's not your cup of tea, he's not your cup of tea. That is fine. If you think he loses to the top heavyweights, that is absolutely fine. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the lack of respect this guy gets amongst certain boxing fans. First and foremost, what he did at cruiserweight was unprecedented. How he became an undisputed champion we haven't seen before. This was a man who became an undisputed champion by winning all of his belts on his opponent's home soil. He beat Krzysztof Glowaczki in Poland when Glowaczki was undefeated, coming off a win over Marco Huck. Marco Huck, of course, one of the top cruiserweights of all time. He tied for most defences for a cruiserweight title. He beat Glowaczki in Poland. He then went on to defeat Neris Briedis in Latvia. Briedis, a very good fighter, hard punching, skilled. You know, he's going on doing good things now. Excellent fighter, beat Briedis in his hometown. Following the Briedis win, he then goes to Russia to become undisputed champion. He beat Murat Gassiev in Russia, an undefeated power puncher in his prime, coming off good wins over Denis Lebedev, again one of the top cruiserweights of the last 10-15 years, coming off a win over the dangerous Junior Dorticos, and he shut out Murat Gassiev in his hometown, a very good fighter. He became undisputed champion on the road. He then defended his undisputed crown again away from home against Tony Bellew, a former cruiserweight champion. And on top of that, he picked up respectable wins over Michael Hunter in America, once again in his opponent's backyard. He also beat Marco Huck, one of the standout cruiserweights in recent years, once again in Marco Huck's backyard of Germany. So this guy has done everything the hard way. He's done everything away from home. What he did at cruiserweight was unprecedented, and for most people, he will go down as the greatest cruiserweight of all time. The only guy who's got an argument against him is Evander Holyfield, and that in itself goes to show how good Usyk's achievements were at cruiserweight. Point being, what he did at cruiserweight, you know, he's already made his bones. He's already put himself out there and took risks. You know, we've got certain fighters who are unwilling to travel away from home, who are not prepared to take risks against fellow champions. Yet here we have Oleksandr Usyk ripping the script up and fighting these dudes in their backyards. All of the champions Oleksandr Usyk beat were in their primes. All of them, and away from home. What he did at cruiserweight was unprecedented. Straight up. Nobody's been on a run like that in modern boxing and becoming undisputed in the process. Nobody. Nobody at all. This guy, from pro debut, was very clear in his ambition. In fact, before his pro debut, he set his ambitions. He wanted to become a gold medalist in the Olympics, which he successfully achieved. When he turned pro, he said he wanted to be an undisputed cruiserweight champion, and he wanted to do it in a quicker time than Evander Holyfield. Guess what? He did that. You know, every time this guy has set goals, he's done his utmost to achieve them, and so far, he has successfully achieved them. This guy from the start All he's done is shown ambition, and not only that, it's all well and good saying it, but he's acted on it. We know his ambitions are genuine. We know this guy really wants to be a great fighter. We know this guy wants to go down in history. He already will in cruiserweight history, but now he wants to bring that up to heavyweight, and now it's a problem. Oleksandr Usyk is the first fighter I've ever seen get criticised for having ambition, for having the audacity to call other fighters out, to call other elite level fighters out. He's the first guy I've ever seen criticised for that. 2019, an era where so-called boxing fans call a call out and ambition clout chasing. Where did this come from? Clout chasing. You're supposed to want to fight the best, you morons. Where did this come from? It's ridiculous, man. Oleksandr Usyk, he is supposed to want to fight the best. We should expect that as boxing fans from world level fighters, and when a guy does it, certain people complain and certain people hate on that. It's quite frankly, it's ridiculous and disgusting. And in regards to Deontay Wilder was the guy who said Oleksandr Usyk wasn't a threat. He opened this can of worms, and by the way, when Wilder said that, I've got no problem with that. He's supposed to say that. He's the heavyweight champion who's knocking people out. He's supposed to say that. But you don't expect Oleksandr Usyk to say something in return? When he was asked a question, he never brought it up. He was asked the question about Deontay Wilder, and he said he would fight him. If he was non-committal, you guys would say he was ducking him. There's no winning with you guys. Regardless of what this guy said, you would have spun your own narrative. Oh, well, Usyk's ducking, and now it's the opposite, he's clout chasing. You guys are absolute morons, straight up. What's wrong with showing ambition? What's wrong with that? Maybe this fight won't happen next. Usyk is obviously the WBO mandatory, but there's nothing wrong with keeping your options open. There's nothing wrong with wanting to fight everybody and keeping all the doors open. Nothing wrong with that at all. All fighters should be like that. What's wrong with you guys? Absolute clowns. Oleksandr Usyk somehow isn't qualified to fight Deontay Wilder, yet Eric Molina is, a part-time boxer at the time, a guy who was literally a special education teacher. He was qualified. Get out of here, you fucking plum. Absolute moron. Chinny Spilka was qualified to fight Deontay Wilder. A guy who got knocked out by Bryant Jennings. A guy who hit the deck against D-level fighters in the past. He was qualified to fight Deontay Wilder. Arthur Spilka? Okay. A fat Chris Arreola was qualified to fight Deontay Wilder. Okay. French pastry chef Johan Duhaupas, he was qualified to fight Deontay Wilder. Okay. Gerald Washington, a football player, was qualified to fight Deontay Wilder. Okay. But Oleksandr Usyk, a former gold medalist, a former undisputed cruiserweight champion, is not qualified to fight Deontay Wilder. You guys are fanboys. Straight up. If you really believed in your boy, you should be pushing for this fight. I mean, ultimately, if Deontay Wilder were to beat Oleksandr Usyk, that's a great name on his resume. It's a great name. I don't care if he's just come up from cruiserweight. That's a great win. But you guys are against it. I just don't understand your logic. If you really believed in the dude that much, you should be pushing for this fight. On one hand, you guys say Deontay Wilder, he's the most feared heavyweight champion. Nobody wants to fight him. Yet when certain man calls him out, no, you're not qualified. You can't have this fight. What are you talking about, you mongs? You guys are an absolute disgrace. What you guys know about boxing, you could write on the back of a postage stamp. You guys are morons. Straight up. 45-year-old Luis Ortiz, he's qualified though. A guy Deontay Wilder's knocked out already. Come on now. Listen, this isn't about Deontay Wilder. This is about his fan base. And I'm going to come out and say it right now. There's a certain section of Deontay Wilder fans who are, quite frankly, the worst set of fanboys I've ever seen. And don't get me wrong, I've been through the Floyd Pacquiao fanboy era. I've been through that. That was bad. But I've never seen a group of fans who radiate such negative, toxic, hateful energy as the Deontay Wilder fanboys. You know, these guys are just poisonous. Straight up poisonous. They're not pro boxing, they're pro Deontay Wilder, they are pro one man. That makes them fanboys, that makes them groupies, and they're pretty much, you know, near enough prostitutes. They're whores, man, a lot of them. Absolutely disgraceful. And listen, man, like I said, this isn't about Deontay Wilder. For the record, 2018 onwards, I've had no problem with Deontay Wilder in the ring. You know, in 2018, he fought Luis Ortiz when Ortiz was a good opponent. You know, Ortiz was undefeated. He was dangerous. Good win. Really good win. I appreciated that as a boxing fan. In December, he fought Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, not quite the same guy he was, but still a quality operator. 2018, for me, good competition, Deontay Wilder. 2019, Dominic Breazeale, that was a mandatory, no problem. And Luis Ortiz rematch, I don't particularly care for the fight, but Tyson Fury doesn't want that rematch. So again, I'm not really that fussed. So Deontay Wilder himself, from his perspective, I've not really got a problem with the dude. I think he's doing all he can right now, to a certain extent. You know, I genuinely believed he wanted that Fury rematch. I think Tyson Fury was the guy who pulled out. That's just my perspective, that's just my opinion. So from Deontay Wilder's point of view, him as a fighter and me as a boxing fan, you know, I would like better fights, but for me, he's doing what he can right now. He could be doing a lot worse. So I've not really got a problem with Deontay Wilder himself, but his hardcore fanboys, man. I mean, you guys are just the worst. At best, you're casual boxing fans. You're not boxing fans. I mean, I'll take that back. I don't think you're even casual fans, because I've never met a casual fan who radiates the toxicity that you guys do. I'm not sure what you guys are. You know, you use boxing as an outlet, you've got your favourite fighters, but you just bring your personal baggage into this shit, and it's just tragic. It really is. And you guys are spreading this narrative, and your dumb, mong fanboys believe it. And you're poisoning a young generation of boxing fans, as far as I'm concerned. You're pushing your hate onto younger, more impressionable people, and for me that's just irresponsible. You know, if you don't like Usyk, I'm not even saying you've got to like the dude. That's cool, but don't downplay what he did at cruiserweight. You know, don't downplay that. Don't downplay his ambition. If you think he gets starched, that's fair enough. Nobody's got a problem with that. Nobody at all. Nobody at all. In fact, I'm not sure whether Usyk can make an impact against the big dudes. I'm not sure. I want to see though, because I'm a boxing fan. You guys are not. You guys are something else. I'm not sure what it is, but maybe you guys need to see a shrink or something like that. I don't get how you can get so enraged and inject so much of your personal angst into boxing. Boxing is supposed to be an outlet, whether that is participating in the sport, you know, and actually taking part, or watching the sport. It's supposed to be an outlet to escape everyday reality. But you guys seem to bring your personal shit into boxing, and that's really a reflection on you. That's not a reflection on Oleksandr Usyk, and that's not a reflection on people who actually support Oleksandr Usyk. That's a reflection on you, and you really need to alter that. You'll be happier in the long run, trust me. It'll be okay. You know? And listen, I sit here and say this as a guy who I really respect Usyk, but am I certain this dude makes a wave at heavyweight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But like I said, I want to see. I'm a boxing fan, and as boxing fans, we should demand the best fights. We should demand the best fighting the best. I see certain men out here calling themselves the best fight the best, yet they don't project that same energy when they talk about boxing. It's purely fanboy drivel. I swear, this YouTube boxing community attracts people who are a few cans short of a six-pack. You know? I mean, I will put it like this. If any of these dudes in boxing lose a fight, I'm not going to lose any sleep. I've got to get up the next morning and go to work. My life carries on as normal. I've still got bills. I've still got responsibilities. Nothing changes, man. Nothing changes. Even if it's a fighter I like, I'm not going to lose any sleep. I'm not going to lose any sleep. You know, boxing is a form of entertainment. I just want to see good fights and the best fighting the best. But a lot of you guys, particularly you Deontay Wilder fanboys, if your boy loses, I can guarantee you a lot of you guys will be depressed for days. And that in itself is a sad reflection of your character. You know, it really is. It really is. I don't give a fuck. If you're sad that a guy you've never met lost a fight, you're a straight up clown. Full stop. That's if you're grown and if you're an adult. You know, the last time I was mad a fighter lost a fight was when David Haye lost to Vladimir Klitschko back in 2011. I was 17. That was the last time I was pissed a guy lost a fight. And that was the last time it put me in a bad mood. And you've got guys out here who are 40 years old plus who would be depressed if their favourite fighter lost. You guys are straight up clowns. Straight up. Absolute muppets. That's all there is to it. It's okay to be upset in regards to a boxing result if it was a blatant robbery. Nobody likes to see a guy lose a fight that he never lost. That's fair enough. But if your guy lost a fight genuinely and you're crying about it as a grown man, yeah, I think you need to take a look at yourself, to be quite honest. But listen, this fanboy nonsense is going too far. It really is. It feels like it's going into overdrive, and it's felt that way for the past kind of 2 years, I guess. The past 2 years, since this heavyweight scene has heated up, this fanboy nonsense has gone too far. And it's not just Deontay Wilder fans, I will reiterate that again. It's not just those guys, but those guys seem to be the people who are the most negative, toxic people. Those guys just seem to have hate in their heart, and you can just sense it from their comments, from their videos. They're just hateful people. I can't put it any plainer than that. And, you know, like I said, that's more of a reflection on them, you know? And it's sad. It's a sad reflection of this so-called YouTube boxing community. It could be so much better than this, but, you know, there's so many divides, so many people just, you know, they take this shit too seriously. Like I said, boxing is supposed to be an outlet to escape reality, an outlet to enjoy yourself, an outlet to better yourself, an outlet to discuss and debate, but not an outlet to preach hate and project your insecurities onto others. Deal with your own issues yourself. Don't feed it to other people. Don't poison other people. Especially when you have, you know, maybe teenagers or young men watching your videos. You have a responsibility as far as I'm concerned. And listen, you guys can think whatever you want. I don't do drama on this channel. You can look at my back history of videos. Find the drama videos. Very few and far in between. You can count them on one hand. I keep it boxing. But when something really needs to be discussed, I will talk about it. And for me, this is one of those issues that needs to be addressed and it needs to be discussed. But anyway, I think I've said my piece now. Again, this isn't aimed at Deontay Wilder fans. This is aimed at a certain section of Deontay Wilder fans. The extremists, you know. Sometimes I say Deontay Wilder fans, and I don't mean to group all of you guys collectively, because I've spoken to a lot of Deontay Wilder fans who are fair, objective, and down the middle. This is not a reflection of all of Deontay Wilder's fan base. It's directed at a certain group of people who just come out with this poisonous narrative, and, you know, they just spread their hate, they spread their insecurities onto others. And for me, it's just getting a little bit too much. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Peace.